with Dead Metal, I just thought, well, I just think we've got to get something that looks as if it comes from a scrapyard. Suddenly all these pieces from a scrapyard have sort of like run together and formed themselves into a robot. And it would be good to have a good scorpion sort of tail that came over with a cutter on it, and a pair of jaws that you could grab something with as well. So it looked like a cross between a sort of lobster and something that sort of formed from a scrapyard. And this is Dead Metal. Fantastic robot, Dead Metal. It's completely different now from what it was in Series 1 and 2. In Series 1, we had a giant arm that came over backwards. It was a bit like a scorpion. The arm was powered off of the strimmer motor, running a grinding disc. It came right over, the jaws grabbed the robot, the arm would chop through the robot and grind away at it. In Series 2, we found that the strimmer was a bit unreliable and it just took a long time of mucking around with it. So we replaced the strimmer motor with an electric motor, replaced the grinding disc with a diamond cutting saw. And this time we ended up with sparks and a much more effective weapon that was able to cut through robots quite easily, and it wasn't as much trouble to us. So we still had the jaws, but we had a better cutting disc. So since Series 3 we've had this. This is much better. This is a devastating weapon, this one. We discovered this, and it all comes down to this saw blade. This is a friction saw blade. It spins at about 4,000 RPM, it sends showers of sparks out everywhere. It's the type of blade that's used for cutting big steel sections on building sites. The saw is powered off of a petrol motor here. This is an off-cut saw from building sites again. It's a 96cc petrol saw, delivers masses of energy into this spinning blade. So the blade is spun up to speed in no time, goes up to speed in about a second or so. When we activate it, the whole assembly moves forward. If this moves forward too quickly, the whole blade just jams up. So it's the art of it is to move it forward very, very slowly. As it creeps forward, it just takes big chunks out of robots, and it produces fantastic sparks when it's up against titanium. Jaws at the front here, these are pneumatically powered. It's a hydraulic cylinder used, but running off of pneumatics via the carbon dioxide bottles, as I've mentioned before. We used to use ordinary air cylinders and things, but because this takes so much of a shock all the time, so many impacts and so many smashes around, that we were just bending rams all the time. But since we've had the hydraulic one in, it's just fantastic. It's so reliable. In fact, actually, this hydraulic ram was the original hydraulic ram that used to power the flipper for the first series of Robot Wars. So we just sneaked it and shoved it in Dead Metal. I've got to say that if I was a contestant in a Robot Wars fight, this is probably the robot I would choose. It's a great robot to take part in the contest with. It's very, very difficult to turn over. It's a great design, it's very effective, and it's certainly the one I would choose.